me, Melissa, Jason, and Randy, and you guys have been great sports, so thank you for putting up with us as we go through orientation. So this is our roundtable meeting. Basically every week we do a roundtable meeting. We got the live broadcast, and we talk about stuff that's going on in the company, some new things, interesting things, stuff that's coming up, stuff we got to watch out for, those kinds of things. So the big thing that I'm going to talk about today, which has been a theme I know on the last few roundtables, continues to be CSA and inspections, making sure that we are staying up on inspecting our equipment. CSA, for those of you who don't know, with CSA scores, as the CSA scores get higher and higher, eventually we cross certain thresholds, and as we cross more thresholds, that causes more scrutiny to us as we're over the road. So they're going to pull us into scales more, they're more likely to do a full inspection on us when they pull us in, that kind of stuff. And it takes time out of your guys' day, and the more scrutiny we get, the more likely they're going to catch something that's small, and the small things can lead to citations, and that's not what we want to work on. I mean, that's not what we want to have happen to you guys. And so with CSA, our best tool to fighting CSA points is to prevent them from happening in the first place. So we work really hard to try to make sure that when there's problems, we're getting them fixed, we're getting them addressed, but we can't fix problems unless we know about them, and that's where you guys come in. Inspecting the equipment, doing good, thorough pre and post-trip inspections, that's what is going to catch these issues and let us keep rolling down the road. Two biggest categories for our maintenance CSA score are related to tires in pressure and tires in tread depth. Making sure you monitor your tires, you continue to measure the tire pressure, measure your tire tread depth. If you don't have a tread depth gauge, get a tread depth gauge. We'll reimburse that. That's a company expense. That's a really big deal. Ditto with the pressure gauge. We got a bunch of them here in the yard that we'll give you. So that's a really important part of the CSA scores, making sure we're taking care of our tires. If you have issues with your tires too, if you especially see wear, different kinds of patterning in the tread, a common thing that we'll see is what they call flat spotting, which indicates your brakes are probably locking up and you're dragging an axle for at least part of the way, and that's going to just shave off that rubber on your tire. Well, let's figure out what that problem is and let's get that fixed instead of letting it continue to wear away tread and get you to nothing. One of the misconceptions about tread is not measured from where you have the most, it's measured from where you have the least. So if you have a big flat spot on your tire but you've still got good tread everywhere around, well, you have no tread on your tire because it's measured from that low spot, not from the high spot. So anyway, that's enough about tires. It's an important part of your pre-trips and your post-trips. Check your tires, make sure that they're good and you've got a lot of good tread life. Other thing on CSA points is hours of service and your logs. There's a couple things. Our biggest issues with CSA points right now with logs are around they call falsification of duty status. What it basically means is you're saying on your logbook something different than what DOT is saying you actually did. And the biggest thing that happens is around PC, personal conveyance. It's really important if you're going to use PC that you document that correctly. PC is not an excuse to just continue to work. That's not what PC is. PC is for you guys to move your commercial motor vehicle without logging that time on your driveline because you guys are doing it for personal reasons. You're doing it to benefit you, not the company, not the load, not the customer, for you guys. So as an example, going to get food is a valid reason for using personal conveyance. You're the one eating, not your truck, not the load, not the customer, you guys. Same thing if you got to move your truck because of shade or you're trying to find a safe place to park at night, to get good parking or services, right? Those are things that can be valid PC. So what's important is to make sure that if you're moving the truck for PC, you put in that reason. I always recommend where are you going and why are you going there. So for example, let's say you were coming here into town. Let's pretend our yard wasn't here. You come in, you go to the Central Point Pilot to stop your day. That's what your trip plan said. You get into the Pilot and it's full. There's no parking in the Central Point Pilot. Okay, that's fine. I know that the Phoenix Petro is just down the way. I'll go ahead and try there. So I stop, I get out of my truck, I do my post trip, I log everything, I finish my day, then I get back in my truck and I say PC, and I put in what are my remarks. I'm gonna go to Petro Phoenix, and I'm going there for what reason? For parking. Now, get in the truck and I go down there. Let's say the Petro Phoenix, there's no parking, but I know that there's a rest area that's just a little bit farther down. Okay, well you don't just keep driving to the rest area. What did you just say on your logs? Well, you're going to Petro Phoenix for parking. Stop, go back into PC. Now I'm going down to the rest area for parking. And that way, if DOT looks at your logs, what do they see? They see, oh, you went to the pilot in Phoenix, or in Center Point. And then you set out with a specific personal destination and reason in mind. You got there, well, that couldn't happen, and then you set out again to a specific destination with a specific personal reason in mind. Guys who log PC like that, they don't have problems. Instead, what happens though is guys log PC like blah, 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 and they just type some things into the keyboard. Well, what does that look like? Does that look like something personal, or does that look like you're trying to cheat your logs? They just kept driving and driving and driving. Does that look like you're trying to take care of yourself, or you're just adding extra hours to your day, right? So making sure you take care of your PC, you log that correctly, that's really important. That's gonna help you avoid CSA points. Another big problem we have with hours of service CSA points, and not specifically hours of service, is around using the PeopleNet units in your trucks. There are certain DOT requirements. For example, DOT, there's a quick reference card, a manual in your truck, it should be in your licensing book, for using your PeopleNet unit. You have to be able to provide that to DOT on request. That's a FMCSA requirement, to provide a quick reference manual to DOT on your vehicle. Another DOT requirement is that your ELD device is viewable from outside of the truck. There's on all those PeopleNet screens, it's a RAM mount. It's really easy to undo the mount. That's okay. It doesn't have to be immediately viewable by DOT. You don't have to be able to hand it off to them right away. It just has to be viewable to them outside of the truck. So undo the mount. Make sure you're familiar with that process. On some of the mounts, it's just a couple screws. They can, if it's some of the arms don't come apart really easily, but you can easily undo the screws right off the back of it. That's okay. But if your answer to DOT is, oh no, I can't give it to you, bam, that's a ticket, that's a violation, that's CSA points. So, and of course that counts as hours of service, even though it's just about a machinery. So those are the kind of the big CSA things to talk about and to hit on, and they add up. What's really unfortunate about the CSA score system is CSA points, we know what our CSA points are, but our score is calculated in kind of a black box way. They take our points and they compare us in some way to other carriers that are like us, that are of approximately our size, that do similar stuff to us, however they determine that. And then based on all of the like carriers, they rank us in our CSA points, or in our CSA score as a percentage of how we compare to other carriers. What this means is Combine can continue to get safer and safer every year. We can be reducing our CSA points, we can be improving our safety, and our CSA points can be going up. Our CSA score could be going up. Because if the way that the other carriers in our group, how they're improving themselves, if they're doing it a little bit better than us, then we suddenly become an unsafer company, which is a stupid way, in my opinion, for those scores to work. But that's the way the CSA points, or the CSA score system works. And so again, reducing the number of points, that's a good first ditch effort for us to get rid of that score, help lower that score. Any questions, you guys, about CSA or anything like that? All right. Yeah, I could beat that dead horse for a long time. CSA points. So in general, make sure you stay safe when you're out there. Your equipment, especially the equipment maintenance stuff, we will fix anything that's wrong. If something's wrong on your truck, let us know, we'll get it fixed. Like that's not the hard part. The issue for us is we don't know that it's wrong because you guys aren't doing a good inspection. You're not finding it when you're out there. We can't fix what we don't know about. So make sure you keep up with those inspections. It keeps you safer out there too, especially checking your loads, your securement, your cargo. We've had a number of accidents related to securement over the last month or so. There's stupid accidents. Using straps instead of chains. Using one strap instead of 5. Stuff like that. I mean, it's unnecessary failures. And fortunately, those accidents haven't resulted in injury, thank God. But they easily could have. If you lose a load when you're driving down the road and there's somebody right next to you, there will be injuries. That's what's going to happen. So make sure you stay up on checking your load, making sure it stays secured, make sure you got the right kind of security. So that's enough about that. And that's really the big thing that I want to hammer on right now. On the West Coast, for you guys coming in, weather's changing really rapidly here over the next 4 or 5 days. It's been like lovely. I don't know if you can tell, it's really quite sunny and warm outside. But Tuesday night, low in Southern Oregon is 19 degrees. We're going to get a cold front that's going to come in. It's going to snow Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, could be on the valley floor. So if you guys are coming through this area, just be mindful of the weather and make sure that you stay safe. That's what I got, unless you guys have any questions or any questions out over the road. Awesome. All right. Well, stay safe out there, you guys. Talk to you later.